Mila, the Wanderlust, back with another sit down video. I've been vlogging, barely. Anyways, if you're new here, I'm Mila the Wanderlust. Welcome to my channel. If I vlog about travel, lifestyle, working in the airline industry, just day-to-day life, healthy eating, the surgeries that I've had, which is VSG, a tummy tuck, and upper body lift. So I have PCOS and I've had my gallbladder removed, so I talk about those things as well. So if you like what you see, please like, comment, share, subscribe, stick around. I don't want you to miss anything. So today's sit down video is to give you guys a review on my retreat that I went on. So if you click onto my page, you'll see that I attempted to do Vlogtober and I failed. I made about 20 videos out of 31. So that's missing 11 videos, so I think that's a fail. But I was doing good, but y'all, life happened and I just couldn't. I still have some footage and I was planning on uploading it, but I just couldn't get it up each day. Too much was going on. I was tired. But most of my Vlogtober is about my trip to Bali. And I went to Bali with Glamazante. And I wanted to do a review about the trip. She did 2 groups. I was in the first one, so Bali 1.0, and then she had Bali 2.0. And I just want to talk about, I got a list of some pros and cons for the trip, and I'm just gonna go into them. So here is my review. So I have a couple of pros, I have a couple of cons. However, my cons are both. They're both a pro and a con. So does that mean I have no cons? I don't know. But let's get into it. So my first pro, well, first of all, let me talk about how I got there. I work with the airline industry, so I was able to use my benefits to go to LA. I live in Houston, so I went Houston to LA, and then I bought a flight from LA to Manila and then Manila to Bali. And on the way back, I bought a ticket from Bali to Taiwan, and then Taiwan to LA, and then I non-rev back to Houston. The price that she gave for her trip did not include the flight, so you did have to buy a flight on your own. And the trip itself was 7 days. It was 7 days. It included all of our excursions, and there was 2 different hotels. So the first hotel that we stayed at was called Element by Westin in Ubud. And I liked that hotel. It was like a Westin, but there was very nice restaurants, very nice pool. They had good food, like very good breakfast, and they had just a good restaurant overall. Like there was one night that we came home from an excursion and I bought myself a steak dinner and it was so good. But that hotel was kind of like chill. Then we stayed at the Puri, I think it's pronounced Santrion in Sanur. I'll pop it up on the screen just in case I'm pronouncing it wrong. That hotel was like very aesthetically pleasing. It was the back of the hotel was by the beach. I remember the first night we got there, they was having a seafood night where you just pick out the seafood you wanted and they weighed it and they cooked it for you. Oh, it was so good. But I really liked that hotel. And so the Element was central in comparison to like what we were doing. Like it was near the monkey forest. It was near the first couple of excursions that we did for the first couple of days. Also, my sister flew in from Thailand, and me and her went to a restaurant, and the restaurant was only like a 10-minute grab is equivalent to like Uber or Lyft, grab ride from that hotel. So there was things near the Westin. To me, you needed to take a grab though. You couldn't walk there. For the second hotel, you could walk out the hotel and turn left, and then turn right, and all the shops were there. So it was nice. And then the last day that I was there, which you'll also see if you watch my vlogs, I went on a bike ride like went out the back of the hotel on a bike ride along the beach, and there was shops and stuff back there, restaurants and stuff. So that hotel was very nice. I like that one better out of the two. So the fact that it was 7 days is a pro, because I feel like that's how long. I feel like it was. I did a lot of stuff. Like, I experienced Bali, I experienced the culture, but I still feel like I need to go back. Like, I didn't even do half of what Bali has to offer. So, but 7 days was a good time period. Both hotels were nice. So that's my second pro. Third pro is Glamazante. She was there. Her mom was there. And I have to be honest and say that she acts no different than how she acts on her vlogs. And it's kind of funny because my boyfriend he was like, what if you get there and she sucks and she's nothing like she is on YouTube? And I was like, well, if that happens, then I'll just do my own thing and I'll figure it out. But she was cool. She was down to earth. She had her moments where she interacted with us, and then her moments where she didn't. But to me, like, anytime you go on a trip and there's a host, your host is hosting during the events, and then they go on about their business. Everybody goes on about their business. So the times that she had by herself, where she maybe was editing or hanging out with her mom, I didn't take offense to it, because to me that's normal. Also, I have solo traveled, so there was so many excursions and group activities that I enjoyed the times where there wasn't a group activity and I was able to do something by myself. She held classes while we were there, so that's like a bullet point under my pro. And her classes came with books, and so I got this book from her, Self-Love. It's Embrace Your Essence, a Journey to Self-Love and Inner Happiness. It's a workbook journal, so I got that to work on. And then she also had a digital influence workbook journal as well, so I got that book. And both books were relevant to the classes. I cannot go into detail about the classes or what's in her books because she's selling them, so she requested that we not do that, because obviously she wants people to buy her product, and that's completely understandable. So, but it is a lot of good stuff in here, especially for me being a smaller YouTube channel and trying to like get to where she is. Sis is dropping gems in these books. And then I just will say, the only thing I will say about the book is she dedicated them to us. So all of our names are in the front of each book. Not our whole name, just like our first initial and our last name, because obviously she created these books for the classes that she was going to hold in Bali. So she dedicated these books to us because we were the inspiration to her creating them. So I appreciated that. Like I said, I don't know. I assume that our names are in all of them, so that's kind of cool to me that our name will be in the front of these books that she's selling. But their books are worth it, guys. Go get them. And look how cute she looks on the back of them. But anyways, okay, so another pro was connecting with like people. So it's funny because I say so a lot. Every time I start talking, I'm like, so. But everybody in our group kind of had their own reason why they watch Glamazante, obviously. And then they also had their own reason for why they want to do YouTube, and everybody's was different. Like me, I kind of feel like, you know, I've had surgeries. I'm trying to stay healthy with my weight loss, with my gallbladder, with getting my body the way that I want it to look. So there's a lot of that on my channel. There's a lot of travel on my channel because I work in the airline industry. My boyfriend's a truck driver, so we both work in the travel industry. So my channel is like kind of that way. And then you had some people there who are like really into makeup or fashion or also travel, obviously, or like the only guy in our group, he had a BBL, and he started watching Tay because of her BBL, and I've never met a guy that had a BBL. So we all had the same goal, which is we want to get to where Tay is on YouTube, and we want to go to Bali, but it was all for different reasons, and that was kind of cool. And some people I really meshed with, and we were talking about taking trips after this. And then, you know, some people kind of got on my nerves a little bit, but we ain't got to talk about that. But anyways, so that brings me to my next pro, which was, you know, getting out of my comfort zone. So I took a personality test not too long ago, and I scored 70% introverted, which is like crazy because I literally talk to people for a living. I'm a trainer, so I talk to different people for a living every day. But it takes a lot out of me, and I always have to, like, you know, pull myself back out of the limelight and get myself together and, like, recharge my social battery before I can get back out and talk to people. And I find it really hard to connect with people. Not that trusting. I've been through a lot, so I've always wondered, like, you know, what are people's intentions? So this trip forced me to get out of my comfort zone and connect with strangers, because that's all that was there, is strangers. And then, of course, my last pro is going to Bali. Duh. Like, Bali is on a lot of people's bucket list. It was on my bucket list. I was actually planning a trip to Bali for this year with my friends, and it didn't work out. So I was kind of bummed that my trip with my friends to Bali didn't work out. And so when this trip popped up, I actually remember asking my mom, did she think I should go on the trip? And she said no, because she was worried about the fact that it was a bunch of strangers. And she kind of was like, and how do you know that girl's who she really says she is on the internet? You don't know her in person. You just know her from the internet. But I went ahead and bought the trip anyways, and it turned out to be fabulous. And I got to go to Bali. So Bali is beautiful, epic, spiritual. Like, I think about it all the time. I could go back and watch my own videos all the time about the time that I had in Bali. Like, I feel like we maximized the time. I bought lots of good stuff to bring back home, and I also have a video about the souvenirs that I brought back home. Like, I had a good time in Bali. I really did. Okay, so that brings me to the cons, which, like I said, my cons are also pros. So my con is the price. So, and I only say that because the price for the whole package was $2,000. And like I said, I was planning a trip with my friends. And I want to say that we were going through a travel agent who had our room and board and our excursions included in the price. And it was $1,000. So half the price of what I paid for Glamazon. And then when I presented it to my friends, my one friend that's been to Bali before was like, I don't think we should go through that travel agent because Bali is so cheap. I think we could find something different that's cheaper. So she did not want to pay the $1,000, and I thought to myself, girl, it's just $1,000 for somebody to book our room for the whole time we're there, which was 7 days, and our excursions. And she was like, no, that's too much. We could find something. We can do stuff way cheaper. She was like, the most expensive thing about Bali is getting there. Once you get there, everything's cheap. So I do want to say this though, however, about the price, the reason why it's a pro and a con, because it was business and pleasure. So my flight was not included in that $2,000. So I bought my own flight, but my room and board for both hotels was covered. Most breakfast was covered every single day. Most lunches and dinners were covered as well. Dinner wasn't covered and lunch wasn't covered every night. But usually, like, when we were doing our excursions, there would be like a lunch in between the excursions, and so lunch was included. So you talk basically probably about 85% of my meals were included. My room and board was included in every single excursion that I did, which I want to say was about 2 each day, except for the last day. So maybe about 12 excursions. That's not bad for her price. Not to mention, she did her classes. We got these books. We got to connect and network with different people. So I felt like for what she was offering for her to make a profit, it was a good price. But just for, if I was a solo person going to Bali by myself, I don't feel like that would have been as much. Just saying. But that's what I said. It's a pro and a con, because even though it was $2,000, it was a lot included with that $2,000. For sure. The other con, which again, there was so many excursions, but she asked us, like, how do y'all feel about the fact that there were so many excursions? I feel like it was too many, and I feel like y'all are tired. And don't get me wrong, we were tired, but I loved it. Like, and that's why it's a pro and a con for me, because the only reason why I was a con is because I'm introverted and it was so many group activities. But I felt like if I was getting up every day doing that by myself, would have loved it. If I was getting up every day with my family, or just even me and Tay, would have loved it. Would have loved it. But like I said, I didn't mesh with everybody in the group, so sometimes it was a little annoying to be with the group. But I also felt like she filled our time. Like, I had to sleep on the way home, sis. Like, that whole flight home, I was knocked out. I think I flew from Bali to Taiwan. That flight was like 4 hours, but my flight from Taiwan to LA was like 13 hours, and I got a row by myself. Slept the whole flight. The whole flight. I was knocked out. But I felt like it was because I was going every single day. But I loved it. I really, like I said, I really feel like I experienced Bali. I did. I still want to go back. I still got other stuff on my list I want to do, but like the main things, I experienced them. So there were so many excursions. I didn't always enjoy the group, but I enjoyed just exploring and that kind of thing. So it's a pro and a con for me. And speaking of group, that brings me to my last con, which is also a pro. Roommates. So you had an option to choose a roommate or a room by yourself. I chose a roommate, and to be honest, I chose it by accident. But I was roommates with somebody named Shay. Shay was from Chicago. I love Chicago. And at first, I was really tired when we first got there, and she was kind of like, what's wrong with you? You kind of seem a little standoffish. And I am standoffish, but I have to get comfortable with somebody in order to not be standoffish. So by like day 2, day 3, I was pretty comfortable with her, and we were fine. And I enjoyed my time with Shay. And that's also why it's a pro, because again, it forced me to get out of my comfort zone, because I know that if I didn't have a roommate, there would have been times where we got back from the excursion and I just went in my room and talked to Bae and sat by myself and not interacted with the group. I know I would have did that. But because Shay is very social, she would be like, well, we about to do this. You want to come? And I would be like, okay, yeah, I'll come. So I interacted with the group more than I probably would have. Going back to it being a con, though, we both were different. She would be on the phone with her bae, I'd be on the phone with mine, and the sounds would be clashing, or I got a shit, or she got a shit, and there's only one bathroom. She liked to sleep with the TV on. I don't sleep with the TV on, but I'm very go with the flow, so it didn't bother me. Like, whatever she needed to do to be comfortable, I was just like, that's fine, because it doesn't take a lot for me to be comfortable. But like, yeah, so she wants to sleep with the TV on. I don't sleep with the TV on. I sleep pitch black, no TV. She needs sounds in the background. She didn't want them to come in and clean the room. But for me, that's like part of my vacation, like messing up the room and not having to clean it back up myself. Like I have, like right now I got dressed and went somewhere in Houston today, and I messed up the room and now I have to clean it up. Like that, to me, that's a part of my vacation, like me messing up my room and I don't have to be the one to clean it up. Oh, that's great. But she didn't want them to come in and clean the room. But again, I'm very go with the flow, so I was just like, okay, that's cool, because it's just whatever. It doesn't take a lot for me to be comfortable. So like I said, having a roommate was a pro and a con, because like I said, it forced me to get out of my comfort zone, to interact with the group, to interact with her. But then I also had to, you know, be accommodating to things that I wouldn't prefer. But even with that, it was all good. Like I really enjoyed the time with Shay, and she was cool, and we follow each other on Instagram and YouTube, and that's my girl. But anyways, I don't have anything else on my list. If I think of anything else, I don't know, maybe I'll make a reel or a short about it. But that pretty much just sums up all my pros and cons. If you are interested to see what the trip was like, then you can click on to my page and watch my Vlogtober vlogs. Any of them that say first day in Bali, second day in Bali, all of them are there. The time getting there and getting back is there. And just for the record, guys, the reason why I failed at Vlogtober is because when I came back from Bali, I got back to Houston on the 14th. And then I had to go to Aspen for work on the 15th for 10 days. And then I got back from Aspen on the 25th of October. And then on the 26th of October, I was supposed to fly to Charleston to go to Miami with my brother. My brother is doing some work. He does music professionally. He's doing some work with Timberland. And so I was there playing manager. And we were supposed to, also my mom's partner passed away. So his wake was Friday the 27th. His funeral was Saturday the 28th. We were supposed to go do our thing with Timberland on the 29th. Timberland changed the date to the 28th. So also the flights, because I non-rev to Charleston, the flights filled up to Charleston, to Savannah, to Jacksonville, anywhere that was close to Charleston, the flights filled up. And you'll see this because I blogged about it, and it's coming soon. I'm editing and I'll post it. But all the flights filled up, so I had to fly into Atlanta and get Bay's car from his father's house and drive to Charleston, which was 5 hours. And then I worked that day. I worked on Friday. And then on Friday night, me and my brother flew to Miami. We did our thing with Timberland on Saturday, and then we flew back to Charleston on Saturday night. So I spent all day Sunday sleeping. Missed the wake, missed the funeral. Felt terrible because I wanted to be there for my dad, but my dad. Maybe I need to call him because I did not mean to say dad. I wanted to be there for my mom, but I couldn't be because I was being there for my brother. So after that, I think it was Tuesday morning, I drove back to Atlanta. I worked that day, and then on Wednesday morning, Annie and I flew back to Houston. So with all that going on, I'm just getting tired thinking about it. I didn't finish Vlogtober. I couldn't. I was so tired. But like I said, I still vlogged all of that stuff, so you'll see it soon. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Glamzante has another trip coming up to Costa Rica. I will not be attending that one, but you should, because the trip was awesome. And if she does any others to locations that I'm interested in, I'm probably gonna go. And that's my girl. Let me just tell y'all, like I said, she, period, in her voice. She is just like she is on YouTube. She is so sweet. I don't know why people be saying that she's mean, because she's really not. Or at least I didn't get that from her. But I'm not a mean person. So, I mean, she gives you what you give her. But I'm the same way. So, I'm very nice. I'm very easygoing. So, that's how she was with me. She was very nice and very easygoing. But anyways, once again, I'm Millie the Wanderlust. Like, comment, share, subscribe if you like what you see. I would love for you to join me. And that's it for my review on Glamazon. Bye, y'all.